the scene we did, actual in scene 1, Benita demonstrates her need for self-expression and her willingness to experience a broad range of cultural things. Based on somewhat misunderstanding and almost mocking reactions from the older family members, we can conclude that the latter beliefs in particularity and vocalism has been lost on the
that should be vocationalism. And then, the second point was, you heard we were talking to Benita about George and saying, exclaiming, he's rich when she says he's shallow and she doesn't quite like him. And so I think this is Hansberry demonstrating that society hasn't quite evolved from the old Elizabethan beliefs that marriage should be for the economic benefit of both rather than for emotional love based on character.
That's interesting. Do you think that marriage has evolved? Because I've heard arguments that, yes, it's within the past 100 years that marriage has become a transaction of love and not just finance. What do you think, class? Has this evolved completely, or is it still partially a financial... Go ahead, Jacob, your discussion. You call people.
Well, I think that nowadays marriage is more for love. It's more common now, but in some situations it's mostly for like finance and resources and stuff.
What about Benita's dream here? Because she wants to be a doctor and George has all of that money. Should she maybe consider trying to marry into his money for her dream? How much should you be willing to sacrifice for a dream?
Well, playing Benita, I was able to see that she is an independent black woman. And she wants to achieve her dreams on her own power. I'm totally serious.
Okay, I know that you're serious. Why is it important why did you label her an independent black woman? Because there's a reason there and a good reason. I think the class
because she doesn't want to like depend on someone else. She doesn't want to like think of love or marriage or anything like that. She just wants to think about her dreams, her ambitions, and she wants to focus on her expressions. So she doesn't want to focus on what people want of her. She wants to focus on what she wants.
She's this wonderful, stubborn, headstrong young lady, and yes, she's a member of the most oppressed group in this society. She's black and she's female, but she's still so determined to achieve her goals. However, I think that you've touched on something important here, that she's a little bit shallow. She does say about George, I even like him sometimes. She does go out with him. She does entertain him, knowing that he's this shallow person who she kind of feels she shouldn't like. She still dates him. What do we think about that? Why date him?
Yeah.
Everybody wants some kind of compassion, somebody to talk to, and maybe George is just that person for her. Like, nobody wants to be alone.
She's got Asuka.
But she's not officially.
Okay, so George until things work out.
Not a fallback, but I mean, she knows that he'll always just be there because obviously he like her.
So she has Asagai's affections and George his interest?
She superficially likes his company.
Okay, so,
Interesting.
well, I mean, what we were saying was that, Benita, she likes Asagai. Well, it's, like, clear that she does. But she's going for George because George has the money. And she's not saying it out loud, but she kind of does want the money. Even though she knows that George won't let her become a doctor. But she's just considering it.
Well, on the last point of the commentary, the scene that we did represents like a very important part of how society is slowly changing over the last century. We have grown as a society, we have grown steadily less religious, and Hansberry demonstrates this fact years before it actually, comes to the point it is today, which was much more stronger than it was before, about how religion is becoming a less part in society. So it's sort of foreshadowing.
That's a very interesting point. I think that in a lot of ways, she's foreshadowing with the idea of marrying for love. Beneatha ultimately kind of toys with a man that she really, really cares about, even though it's not rational. And yes, we see this idea that it's more about man and less about God. Beneatha has a tale of the time that she saw the little boy get his head split open, and she really wanted to be a doctor so she could help people. So this is a wonderful point. Great job on that one. What do you think, class? And most people who talk about Lorraine Hansberry are just very sad that she died so young, because she probably would have had in her so many other great works of literature. Yes?
What did she die from?
I think she had cancer. I think in her 30s she passed away.
Now we have the commentary from Fro's group.
It's going to make it easier for us to read that than this. Oh, it's the videos.
It's just a voice, you know. It's kind of dry there.